So last time I tried to cast these bells, a couple things went wrong. The first thing that went wrong is there were a bunch of like bubbles on the side, and I think that was caused by having my sand and plaster mixture be slightly inhomogeneous, and so like I'm guessing the plaster high rich areas also were like water rich, and that water didn't come out until I poured the aluminum in. And the second issue was that there were like black marks and holes kind of randomly throughout the bell. For the first issue, I think I just have to pre-mix the plaster and the sand, and so that's what I've got this giant bucket for. And then the second issue, I'm going to try blowing air into the bell once it's finished pouring out the PLA, the ABS. And hopefully that'll get rid of the tiny black components that I think might have just been not burned out or stuck around. We'll see. So in order to mix this or get good measurements, I'm going to pre-fill my casting mold halfway with sand, and then pour that into the bucket once I pour the rest of the bucket into another container. And then fill it about halfway with plaster and toss that into the bucket. And make sure you do this outside or somewhere with the draft, because it's very dusty. And now we gently mix the casting mix together. Alright, it looks pretty well mixed, and I filled the original container with maybe 3/4 of the way with water. And now I'm going to mix that back in and start blending it slowly. I broke up any larger clumps with my hands, and it seems ready. Basically, if the sand doesn't sink to the bottom, then you know it's ready. Seems a bit bubbly, but to be honest, bubbles aren't the worst thing ever, because what they represent is the aluminum getting into places where it's not supposed to, which is fine, because if you have some basic tools like a Dremel, you can just grind that out. What you don't want is not enough aluminum getting into places. And I got pretty lucky. It seems to have filled it up to the top, although once I start putting in the cast, it's probably going to overflow, which is fine. So yeah, make sure you got your tape ready, and then something heavy to put on top, and yeah, you can start kind of putting in your cast. Make sure you move it around a bit and make sure it doesn't touch the bottom. Alright, and there you have it. The duct tape does most of the job of keeping the cast object from floating up, but sometimes it helps to have like a small rock or something like that to keep it in the same place where you want it. Not so high that that kind of sprue, the casting funnel, is outside of the casting, but not so low that it touches the other side of the cast. Alright, now we gotta wait, 24 hours. Probably not that long, but that helps. Okay, so for this next step, you want to remove the caps. The idea is to not use too much glue, and then they just kind of pop off. And then, the tricky part now is to get the mold out, and that usually takes a little bit of handling. Spread these things out, and there you have it. It looks like air bubble formed up here, which I think is like the center of it, so that might get a little tricky. But you know, worst case you just drill it with a drill. I mean, we're just doing aluminum today, so it shouldn't be too difficult. So now we gotta place it in the forge. Alright, let's get this out. Sometimes there's a spider that likes to live in there, but not today. Place the cast. Place. Put the bricks back. Now we do the fire. Alright, so once we pull them out of the cast, it kind of looks like this, and so we just have to saw off these things and break off those air sprues. Looks like something went wrong here, and it's going to take some more investigation to figure it out what went really wrong. So that's what it looks like. Now we gotta saw off these things and kind of clean it up. And so yeah, we can clean it up a bit. And now we just have to install the clacker. Okay, so I used a couple of bolts with hooks at the end to join together to make a clacker. That's what it looks like, and that's what it sounds like. Not bad.